No. Welcome back.
Wow.
Welcome to the Orca Report. We have breaking news. Stiz did not know. We lost the great Sinead O'Connor today.
Wow, bro. That's crazy.
Do
Well,
you
how
remember?
old was she?
Oh, bro, she was young. I don't care how old she
Yeah.
was. She was young.
Yeah,
You
she
know,
was young. Yeah.
because I watched last year. I watched her. She did a couple live things that were posted to YouTube from the audience, and I was like, wow, she's fucking step. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
great voice. Still, it doesn't matter. She didn't like. I don't know. I was kind of shocked when I found that out today. I was really
Yeah.
shocked.
When did that come across the wire?
Uh, so what time? It's like 5 o'clock now. 2 hours ago.
Wow,
2 to
bro.
3 hours ago.
Yeah, I did not hear that yet. That's crazy.
And now we're like right around the same age. Do you remember? I don't remember. I couldn't tell you that I watched it live, but I remember when it happened. The
Shaving
hubbub.
her head.
Well, no, when she went on SNL in '92 and tore the Pope, she said, "Fight the real." She said this like little thing at the end of her song. She said, "Fight the real enemy." It was silent, and she had a picture of the Pope and tore it up.
And what was that in response to?
The child abuse.
Yeah. That's what
But
I
again,
thought, but I don't remember.
1992. So this like, I don't even think this had made like the waves, the
That's
ripple
what
effect
yeah,
it eventually
exactly.
had.
That's why I was asking because I'm like, yo, 92, like that scandal didn't really break till like the early 2000s, right? So she was on that. Good
Yo,
for
she
her.
was like, and not only that, but you want to talk about cancel culture? Everybody throws that in the air. She was banned from ever going back to SNL. I don't
Piece
think
of
like I
shit.
don't know what else happened. I'm not like I was never the biggest Sinead fan. I just profoundly remember that, and then from there on out, she was like, you know, just kind of
Well,
canceled in general.
yeah, and it's kind of like a tale as old as time, kind of where like she was one of the well, not probably not one of the first. I'm sure it's happened a bunch of times, but like one of those people where they kind of speak out about certain things and then kind of get blacklisted, and then people are like, "Oh, she's crazy, she's crazy, she's crazy," and then in turn it drives that person crazy, literally. You know what I mean? Because they're like, "What the fuck." And like, fucking Dave Chappelle had to go to, I know you're not his biggest fan, but it happened to him too. He had to go to fucking Africa. It's Sinead O'Connor. It happens a lot, man. It's crazy.
Well, and
It's
that's the
fucking
sad thing.
crazy.
It's when especially like when time proves them right,
Mm.
that's the worst of it. When like it's like
I
it
was
just,
just, yeah.
like just a matter of time and it proves her very right. I always thought it was like not only extremely brave, but so like brave. There's got to be like a Latin or Greek word for it. Like in Greece, there's 5 different words for love because there's different kind of loves. Like agape, and I forget all the like. But I just know there's different describing words, and I'm like, there's got to be different describing words for brave, like not courageous,
Mm,
something like
mm,
so on another level. Because what she did to go and rip a picture of the Pope. Remember, the early '90s, there was no internet, there was no,
hmm
or maybe there was, but it wasn't like
But
stuff.
very, and it's, yeah, it's in its infancy. Yeah,
It
for
was
sure.
like, yo, that was on the news, and the news was just there was no alternate takes. There was no Joe
hmm
Rogan to be like, let's hear her out. It was
hmm
like news
Yeah,
said,
yeah, you're right.
this
No, you're
lady's
100%.
bad. She's fighting the Pope, and we all shun her. And they're like that
Yeah,
was,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and I
And you
remember
know what's
being like,
funny?
yo, just wild. Like who does like, yo, she took on the
Yeah.
Pope.
Yeah, and I was just saying this to someone. Actually, I think my friend Johnny, who you know, I was just saying to him. We were in discussion about something, and I said, it sucks is that the truth is never as big as the lie, right? So like you said, like when she does this, the fucking news blows up. She's crazy. She's crazy. She doesn't believe in religion. She's anti-religion. Blah blah
Yeah,
blah blah blah. And then when it comes out, there's no Times article like the vindication of Sinead O'Connor. Like there's none of that. Like
nothing.
yeah, crazy,
And the
crazy.
worst part is like when I was rereading because I was watching all these tweets come in and like retweeting that little moment from SNL, um, and just thinking about it. And I was like, the craziest thing is like how many Catholics who just had an allegiance to the Pope. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm,
I met Catholics who were just like, that's kind of like what turned me to be like, who the F does the Pope think he is? Like
mhm.
that's the antithesis of what Jesus wanted. he didn't want a hierarchy where like one dude ruled them all. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And I was
Yeah.
like, that's the craziest part, that people turned on her because of like the stuff we were just saying, like the news. People said she's anti-religion, and she was probably, I don't know what she was, coming from Ireland. I'm guessing Catholic or
Mm-hmm.
Protestant. She was
Yeah.
probably closer to Jesus. You know, probably took care of kids, took care of her neighbor,
Yeah.
helped the
Yeah. Yeah.
community than the Pope ever would be or will be. And people just hated her for, you know, the fallacy of whatever was perpetuated.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
is
Damn.
a crazy, crazy day that, you know, we lost her, and it's sad. And, you know, I feel like I don't think people will if you were born recently or this is your generation now, you can't understand. I just read this meme. I'll tell you about the meme after, but you can't understand like how powerful TV was. You know, like when
Mm.
there was no alternate YouTube to get your alternate facts or hear the other side. It was just like whoever could get on TV got to set the narrative.
Yeah.
I was joking
100%.
with a friend at work, this black girl I work with. I said, "Do you remember?" I said, "We were listening. Coolio came on, and I said, did you see Dangerous Minds?" She's younger, and she's like, "No, no, no." And I was like,
Classic.
and I go, "It's a classic," but I go, "It's the typical white savior coming in to save the hood." I
Yeah.
said, because when I was little, going to my grandma's in New York, we used to watch like The Principal, all the movies where like the white savior came to help the
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
and I said, it's so incredible that for so long that was just the narrative. Like, we need a good white person to save them all. And
Yo,
it's
teacher, you ain't gonna tame me.
that was
Yeah.
every movie
Yeah,
from
it was every movie. Yeah.
the 70s, 80s to the 90s. And I was like, man,
And
it's
then like
so funny.
towards the middle, one of them gets shot in the hood in some gang violence, and the white lady's like, "Oh man, like there really are problems. Like this is sad. This is tragic. I need to save them. They are worth saving."
They are. Let me put on this leather jacket
Yeah.
bandana, and that's how I'll reach them.
Hey,
But
Michelle Pfeiffer was a baddie back then, though. I'll give her
oh,
that.
yeah, well, so that was what, like, I was like, it's so funny because they did it with like Jim Belushi. I think he was like one of the white savior guys. There was somebody else that was a white savior guy, and then they switched it to the female white savior. I think they even did a Sunset Park where Rhea Perlman came in as the white lady to help the basketball team. I don't know. There's so
Yeah.
many different versions of white person comes and helps the hood. It was
Yeah, yeah. It's
exhausting.
definitely a Hollywood trope for
Yeah.
sure.
Yo, so the meme I seen today was like, it said, people will never understand the power we had, or the greatest thing we had as millennials in the 90s was, without the internet, start a rumor that circulated through every middle and high school that Marilyn Manson had 2 ribs removed so he could
To
suck.
suck his own dick, bro. I still believe there might be some truth to that rumor. I don't know. I'm not convinced. I heard it so much as a child that it's just like is in my brain is probably true.
But bro, for everybody that didn't grow up, or that is growing up with the internet, we started that room, or we as a
So
generation,
yeah, 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 yeah.
with nothing. We didn't have TikTok.
No,
We didn't have YouTube.
no.
We didn't have face space and my tweets. And that
I know,
somehow,
man.
I guarantee you, there's somebody watching from California, maybe
Oh
Alaska,
yeah.
and they all heard it.
Everyone heard that.
How did we do
Everyone
that?
heard that. Yeah,
How?
everyone heard that.
That would be a great documentary. Getting to the
That
bottom.
that kind of would be. Yeah, because someone had to have started that, right? Like it came from one source at one point at the very beginning. That's what, yeah, that is wild.
And you know what's fascinating too? And this is really like why I think it could be a good documentary. There's famous people who know this rumor, and
Yeah,
probably a weird tale about when they first heard it, where they think it came. You know what I mean? And then
yeah,
we end the documentary with going to Marilyn's house himself,
yeah,
even though I think he's like a not very good guy from some of the news.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some stuff about him,
All right,
but
listen, I know I'm trying to keep an eye on the time, and I know you're limited on time. Um, I really want to talk about the news that came up. Has it been a week now? Almost a week. There is a
yeah,
house raided in Las Vegas in connection with the Tupac murder, and it has been all consuming me. I'm watching
really,
multiple YouTube videos, reading every article, which is not much, not much. But the YouTubers, I'll tell you this: the one YouTuber to go check out, His name is Delray Richardson. He does straight game TV on YouTube. He worked with Pac. He's very informed. Like he'll bring the paperwork and read from whatever court filings or whatever information he can gather. He's very unbiased. He just kind of lays it like it is. One of the videos that I just finished watching again for the third time was the one where he's talking about Keefe D, and I'll set the scene in a second. But Del Rey is so brilliant. He goes, one thing Keefe D, this old time gangster, he said the one thing he forgot, the number one rule. He says your ego is not your amigo. So Del Rey, if you get and what he's referencing. So back in '96, I can't believe it's going on 30 years, and I'm still like this impacted. Pac meant everything to me. Still does.
I remember when he died, bro. That shit really affected me as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old, whatever I was. Oh no, that was '96. I was 11. Holy shit.
You were only in '96. Oh yeah, so I was in my teens by then.
Yeah.
But so the story goes. Well, and kind of the story too, right?
Well, Keefe D is Orlando Anderson's uncle, right?
Uncle. Now, Orlando Anderson is the man who allegedly, heavily emphasis on allegedly, and I'll get into why I think it's allegedly later, is the alleged one who shot Pac when, pulled up next to the car. That all stems from after the Tyson fight in Vegas, Pac hearing that, hey, there's the dude that tried to steal the death row medallion the other week or something. And that's the infamous video that's so horrifying to watch now of Pac attacking him, a bunch of other dudes attacking him, then them all running out of whatever it was, the casino.
The MGM.
Yep. And then that, I hate when people talk about this and they say, unfortunately, that set off the series of events that, was the fate of Tupac, because, it almost seemed like fate, just how everything rolled out. What? Mitch McConnell had a stroke on TV?
I know. I just saw that. I was like, what?
Oh, I wish.
What the fuck? Sinead O'Connor's dead. Mitch McConnell just had a stroke on national TV. And this dude just went in front of Congress under oath and says we have alien bodies in possession. Did you see that?
I started reading something about that and I thought it was like an Onion article.
Yeah, I did too. But no, this dude is in front of Congress testifying under oath that they recovered biological non-human entities. Fucking crazy.
Was he a guest on Joe Rogan's show?
I know. I don't believe it, but I don't know what the fuck's going on. Something's going on. I don't know what it is.
Congress got a lot of time on their hands and they ain't doing their job. Because even if we do got aliens, we got bigger fish to fry. So anyway, so all that plays out, right? Tupac dies. Now, Keefe D, I did not know he was an informant for the government. They built a case against him. He ended up informing. He had a proffer agreement with the government, which meant the proffer means whatever he's not confessing to, but incriminating himself with criminal activity, especially when charged at night. They can't charge him with the stuff he bought. But then, Stan, I don't know if you've been on YouTube with all these channels. There's Bomb First, Art of Dialogue, DJ Vlad.
Yeah.
There's a few more. I have my feed just continually recommends all these. So the past 10 years, there's been all these different interviews, and a lot of them feature Keefe D. And
Vlad gets a lot of good ones.
The Art of Dialogue. Sure.
Yeah, the Art of Dialogue with Matt Hoppe is pretty good too. Is that Matt Hoppe? I don't know.
They all kind of blend into one for me.
What are you saying, Rob? What are you saying? They all look alike?
Vlad TV. Vlad's like a Russian dude.
Yeah, he is. He's so funny. He's such a dweeb. He's been posting on Twitter lately, should I do 100 push-ups every day? He's such a freaking goof.
When I first seen him, I was like, "This is the nerd doing all these great interviews." Like, damn.
Hey, yeah, all the power to him, though, man. He's really built that into a fucking empire.
He has, and listen, the stuff, and that's what we're going to talk about. So, it was shocking to me when this alleged gangster legend of the streets was going on, because I always thought the code was you don't rat, you don't snitch,
snitches get stitches,
right? And this dude's down in interviews like I gave the gun to my nephew. He killed. And by the way, like you said when we texted the other day, Orlando Anderson's been dead for what 20? Like he passed away. He was.
Yeah, he got shot up like a year, probably within a year after Pac died, I believe. Pretty soon.
It was real recent. So it was all number one. I was like, wow, way to like snitch on your alleged nephew, being like, yeah, he killed Tupac. I was
Yeah,
like, dude, whoever admits to it, or I always felt like whoever, like, you're going to be hated by the world. Tupac was beloved, you know,
yeah, but I don't know. Tupac got a weird story, man. Like Tupac fell into that gang stuff. Like Tupac wasn't that, man. Like
no,
Tupac was born in New York. He went to Juilliard. Like it wasn't
he didn't
until
go
he
to
gets
Juilliard.
with death.
He
Yeah,
didn't.
or went to New York. Fucking. He went to some dance school. He went to an art school with Jada Pinkett.
In
I
San
think it was.
No, he moved to Baltimore. You got to watch the docu series. It goes through all this. He didn't go to Juilliard. He was still broke, and he talks about it in the interviews they do with the school. It was in San Francisco. He talks about it. He said it's so crazy going to the school because we're learning Latin. He's like, when am I ever going to need the Latin? He goes, or some foreign language. He goes, we can't afford to pay our rent, and here we are. And he was like, in a school with all these white kids. So it wasn't like he came from this elevated place in society. He got into these art schools, or the one art school, which really helped him, build his character of whatever. I don't even want to call Tupac a character because he was always real, but it helped him in that theatrical role. But you're right.
Yeah, but
He was
yeah,
never a gangbanger.
and that's I think was the downfall of Tupac was he got successful and then he wanted to surround himself with these gangsters and portray that lifestyle when and I think he was a genius and I think that he thought I mean it always blows my mind when I'm like Jesus Christ this kid was 25 like that is fucking nuts bro like I can't even I don't know Jesus what I was doing at 25 but I don't know yeah I just think that was like the downfall of him you know
But also,
and
you listen, watch what is the series called? It's on Hulu. You have to just watch it because it really goes in depth into his life story growing up as a Black Panther, or this, the
this
son
his mom and yeah.
of Feeney. It goes through her. I read her book right after that. I bought her book. She had a book. I bought it, read it. I loved the Black Panther story. I was more like a Fred Hampton. I didn't know all of Feeney's stuff, which is so insanely incredible. So
Did
you
you
have.
see Judas and the Black Messiah?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was a good movie.
Woo, that was a great movie, dude. That
See,
was
if
a
you
great
like
movie.
that, dig into the real stuff because it's so crazy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah. Well, that dude, that's crazy. That dude who like set Fred Hampton up
William
ended
O'Neill.
up, yeah, dude. He ended up walking into traffic like a couple years after that and killing himself, dude, because he was like so overrun with guilt and shit. That's a
Well,
wild
like he
story.
paid. I forget, but he was paid like not. You know what I mean? Like nothing compared to like what the
Yeah,
fee
yeah.
of it all was. Um. Again. So anyway, so now in Vegas, they've raided Keefe D's home and they're testing bullets to see if they. I guess when Tupac died, they had the tech to like run the greatest test you could, and they've preserved that stuff for whatever it is, 27 years, I don't know, almost 30 years. So
Mhm.
they're testing bullets right now to find out, and which think about how crazy that is. People are associated, do not want to get I just can't believe.
Okay, but no, I believe that 100%, bro. If that story is true, and I tend to believe because it's not just Keefe D that said it, like this Orlando Anderson thing. Like this has been like quite a few people that have said like, oh yeah, we pretty much know who did it. It was Orlando, and then he was murdered shortly after that. But imagine Keefe has the gun that killed Tupac Shakur bro, that's like a fucking hip hop Mona Lisa. It's macabre and it's
Yeah, yeah.
fucking crazy and it's incriminating, but you don't just throw away the gun that fucking killed Tupac. That's
Well,
crazy.
okay, I get what you're saying, but at the same time, right? There is no Del Rey said it perfect. How do you say? He said there's like no time limit on being charged with.
Statute of limitations on murder.
There's
Yeah, for
no
sure.
limitation on murder, and he said also or on conspiracy.
Yeah.
because the KVD's story, his own story, is I gave my nephew the gun. I was in the front seat. I watched it happen. You're an accomplice.
Yeah.
And he's saying this on multiple interviews. Now, I
hmm
just want to say this to you and see if you buy this. If you had really done it and your nephew had been shot and passed away, right?
Why not pass the buck? Yeah,
I,
no,
listen, every
maybe.
time I've watched him, I just get a vibe like, yo, this is the perfect story for this dude to say, like, my nephew did it. I was as closely involved as I could, but I didn't. So he cannot take the heat of being hated for,
Yeah,
taking.
maybe. What's up, Andreas? Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but they did just stomp the fuck out of Orlando earlier that night. So Orlando is definitely running around Vegas looking for some get back shortly after that. You know what I mean? So, and Orlando did snatch that other dude in Death Row's chain like the week before at the mall. So like it's a tangled web. But yeah, sure.
I
You
just
know,
listen. I
could
can't
Keefe
believe
have done it for sure? Maybe.
when I was in high school, I read this book called L.A. Labyrinth, but it was L.A. Big L.A. like Los
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Labyrinth. It was written by one of the cops. I forget. You could buy the book. It's on like Amazon. And I did my whole term paper on the Tupac.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
So I did my entire like I studied it. I read any document that was out. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like I want to write a report. It was like I was hoping to help crack the case.
Oh yeah, well that's like I mean, Jesus, circling back now to when we first started and we were talking about the infancy of the internet. I remember when the Tupac is alive rumors
Oh
were
yeah.
going around, bro. And then I don't know if you remember, but like maybe a week after Tupac dies, the video for I Ain't Mad at You comes out from Tupac. And in the beginning of that video, what happens? Tupac's walking out of a thing, someone runs up on him, shoots him, and now the video is Tupac in heaven rapping this song. This is a week after he died. I'm a 12-year-old sitting in front of TV watching MTV. I'm like, oh my fucking god, like this is fucking wild, bro. And then the clues, bro, like, and then like what, like 6 months after he dies, the Machiavelli album comes out, and in the
Well,
very
and the
Shug
Stay
Shotty, you hear that?
theory, and
Yeah, dude,
yo,
yeah,
I'll tell you what, when that album
bro.
came out, whenever that was, my friend, like you
And
could
he's on the cross, the album cover. He's Jesus on the cross. Bro, 12-year-old Stiz was losing his fucking mind, bro. Losing his mind. It's like you just said. I really felt like that. Like, yo, I'm gonna help crack this case, bro. Like, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, that was a wild time, bro.
but you
That was
got to
such a
remember,
wild
so,
time.
like at this point, if we want to get on the internet, you had to number one have a computer, which no one had. You had
Yeah.
to hook into a landline to,
Yeah, that's what I had to do. I had to convince my mom to get off the phone for fucking 30 minutes so I could fucking jack the phone line for AOL.
and then well, and that was the other thing. It was like the only real web place to go was AOL. That was it. So everything
Ask
like
Jeeves.
yeah, everything was through there, and it was so minute. Like, because I don't even think I used the internet for this term. I didn't use the internet through high school. Like there was no using. We would type stuff on a computer for the papers, but there was no getting on the internet for resources.
Do you remember rotten.com?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course,
And that was the first time I seen Tupac's supposed autopsy picture, which I think has come out that that's real.
that is real. There
Yeah,
was a
and
pop
I just remember being like,
about
"What
that.
the fuck?"
Bro, there was the interview is on YouTube. Is it I forget the name of the cop right now. He addresses it and he said people were fired because that leak was actual and stuff like that is not but you know what I mean with that eye.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I think that was the same cop that was on Vlad that said when he got to Tupac, Tupac's final words were like, "Go fuck yourself." The cop was like, "Yo, like, don't worry, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna get paramedics." And Tupac was like, "Go fuck yourself," and then just stop talking. You know,
Yeah. And
crazy.
then it like became grave, but yeah, that's what I think. I don't want to say it's Greg Kading. That's the name that keeps coming back to me, but he's one of the people that has been like always involved. Um damn man. I
It
just
sucks though too because that's the thing you got to watch out for is that there's so much money and like viewership to be had about this, right? So it's like, was that really his fucking last words? It makes for a great title of a YouTube video. Tupac's last words are "Go fuck yourself." And I
listen,
could see it, you know what I mean? Who the fuck knows? But
it makes for a great video. I watched the whole video just to
yeah,
hear.
I did too. I did
Like,
too. I watched that whole shit. I've watched everything on Biggie and Tupac, all that shit.
and please watch. I'm looking up the Hulu thing right now because I have to give you,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
because
I know what it is. I do gotta watch that. I know.
it is so good. I literally got a Hulu thing just Tupac uh Hulu. I forget.
Dear Mama, it's called Dear
Dear
Mama,
Mom.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, yeah,
It is
yeah.
so fantastic because I just feel like that, like the movie. Did you see the Tupac movie? Absolutely horrible. I saw it once.
All eyes on me.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
Such a rubbish, because like I think they just tried to fit all of Tupac's life into a movie, which it's like
Yeah,
you got.
but that's expected. So I don't like. To me, I'm not like it's fucking rapping. Like it is what it is. It was a Hollywood depiction. They're never gonna get it right. You know what I mean? Like
No, but if they had just picked something to go with, like a story, you know what I mean? And they could have done a sequel, like I don't know. But this series is what you're hoping for, and it's all real footage. A lot of it's never seen before, which was
mm,
fantastic.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
I'll be into that.
you just didn't, you know what I mean? Like stuff that just wasn't circulated. So watch Dear Mama, please. It's
Yeah, I will
so
check it out.
so good. And listen, if you happen to know another email, you can probably get a free Hulu for it.
I think I have Hulu right now for like another month or something.
Oh, then do it. It's on there on demand. It's a 5-part series. You watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm
I'll
telling you.
bang it out. I'll
If you're
bang
a
it
Tupac
out.
fan, it's so worth it. And it's cool to see like Emmett appearance in it. And he talks about when Tupac died, he was working at some restaurant or something. Uh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it, we have to talk about it because when Dre talks about Pac, you can tell Dre doesn't want to talk about Pac because Pac went after Dre. Dre was leaving death,
Yeah,
but at the
yeah,
same time, Pac was coming into death row. So I don't think he understood, like the
yeah,
thing behind it.
yeah.
And then Snoop is featured a lot in it because of all the stuff they're going through. Like, remember the Murder Was a Case song when
Mm-hmm.
Snoop was on trial right after Pac came out of jail. And then Tyson's in it, which Tyson had a unique relationship with Pac, obviously
Mm-hmm.
his fight, and it's just crazy. And Tyson talks about like traveling the world, and he's like, "There's little child soldiers that meet me or ask about Tupac." They were like, "He's the most popular dude in the world."
Yeah, yeah, for
Just
sure.
sad. Oh, so what I was saying is, I guess I'm really taken by the story because I just didn't think in my lifetime we might see something like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's certainly a headline that I was like, "What the fuck?"
Well, yeah, the alert on my phone, I was like, is this a joke?
Yeah,
Is this clickbait? Because I don't know. When we grew up, when this happened, it felt like the cops didn't. Well, not only the cops didn't give an F because they had beef with Pac, but it also felt like at the time, I don't know how much, like when I was studying this and reading about all the connections, so many of the LAPD were like,
we're working for death row. Yeah.
yeah. And it just seemed
Mm-hmm.
like, they're not going to catch themselves,
Yeah,
or like
exactly. Yeah.
incriminate themselves. So this is just such a trip. But again, I never thought I'd see the day where we would have YouTube and this dude bragging about being the dude in the car. I'm like, that is not the brag.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
taking the one dude that was changing the world, taking his life is just not the high
The
powered.
flex that you think it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I'll keep us up to date with what happens with the bullets because I'm so
Yeah.
bad.
I'm about to run. I gotta run. I'm about to go see. I'm so excited. The premiere, like a special screening of this new movie, "Talk to Me," that looks crazy.
That's the
I
one,
have been,
right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
You got to tell
I've
me.
been wait. I will. I'll text you when I get out, and I'll give you a brief sentence of what I thought. But I'm very excited. I've been waiting for this movie for like 3 months, 4 months now. Like I remember before it even had a distributor, and then they took it to Sundance, and A24 picked it up, and A24 has a pretty good track record. So
A24 is so good. When we worked on the radio, that was how I sold a few of the interviews. I was like, "Yo, it's an A24 movie," to the host.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And I just felt like the writers and directors or whoever we were trying to get were worth it because A24 just don't miss.
They really don't. I
They
know.
don't. They're so good. So yeah, we'll connect and maybe next week when we do it, you can tell us about the movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Or I don't. Does it come out soon? Would you be able to
Yeah,
tell?
I think it's this weekend. It comes out
Oh,
like
okay. Yeah, yeah.
all everywhere. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So let's do that. Thanks for watching the Orca Report. Peace.
Wait, any Orca report? Any Orca? Any fucking reportings of?
Oh, you know what? No, but oh, see, you know what? They're still attacking the wealthy in the off the Iberian coast. I didn't get to look anything up, and that was like pointed, but we kind of did this on the fly, so I'll have
Oh, that's
more
great.
Orca Report for you next time. All
Yeah,
right?
the people need to know.
They do. Hey, I'm gonna call you real quick, okay?
All right, do it.
All right, later.
Peace.